All right, welcome and thank you everyone for joining us for another Twitter Space. Today is August 31st, 2022, and this is episode 10 of the ledgerscale Internet of Value focus topic. Now, ledgerscale Foundation was founded with two goals in mind. One, we want to provide educational services to not only our community, but to the entire digital asset community, and to help scale up the number of brains that understand how distributed ledger technology works. And two, we intend to one day run hardware to provide infrastructural support to the distributed ledger technology networks that we believe are ESG friendly and running a form of decentralized consensus. We host these spaces Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday starting at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. And on Wednesday, we obviously host the focus topic space from 5 to 6. If you could, just give us a follow on Twitter at ledgerscale. Turn those notifications on so you know when we're going live, and click the bubble box at the bottom right of the screen and give a like and a retweet so that hopefully other people can find this information valuable in the future.
Yeah, and so we're basically doing this to engage the community. So if anybody has a question throughout the conversation, please raise your hand if you're curious about something or you want some clarity on something. If you're curious about it, I guarantee somebody else is. And if you do speak up, just please be cordial. And today it is a focused forum. I'm actually really excited because this is my stupid financial engineer nerd brain. And all three of these, so we're going to talk about escrow, payment channels, and checks. And there's a different set of functionality to each one of those amendments. But this is I hope this will be fun. The thing with finance that it's, I guess, not, a lot of people think finance is about money. It actually has nothing to do with money. The key formula in finance, it's called a time value of money formula, but it's the time value of, and you can put bananas or money or houses or anything after that, but it's the time value of part that is, that's what the formula helps you assess and measure. And so all three of these features, what they do, each one of them, what they enable is the time shifting of money. So this is like a really one of these things that helps, like a financial engineer, build services and products and things of this nature. So I don't know which one we want to start with first. I would imagine most people are more familiar with escrow. Checks it's not new, it's a couple years old. And then payment channels is even older than that. So I don't know where we want to start. Maybe escrow, because that's and these are all like kind of related. Like there's functionality in the ledger that each one of these amendments uses in a different way, right? So there's some subtleties there. I don't know, what do you think? Where should we start?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Listen, whatever you feel like. I think I like it. I like we have it written down, right? The checks or the escrow, whichever one, and then go to checks, and then the payment channels, and I'm sure somebody will have some questions in between, and or if anybody has any questions while he's speaking, or have anything you'd like to add in, please feel free to hit the request, come up, and ask right away.
Yeah, come on up. Because there's going to be, I mean, I don't know how many folks are actually working on something here, but yeah, there should be. There's no way we're going to cover all of this in 1 hour. There's just no way. But we can at least hopefully gloss over or do like a skim coat, if you will. I don't know. I guess we can. You want to just start with escrow?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, what would be the functions of an escrow, and why would a business want to use it?
Um, there's a lot of reasons. Imagine you're doing like a real estate transaction. You put money in escrow while the transaction is closing, and then once it's closed, the escrow is released and the money moves out to all the people. So we can just use that as a sort of scenario example scenario. And there's the thing there's two different ways you can set up an escrow, and you can combine them. You've got time and crypto conditions. So escrow came about back when interledger protocol came about. So escrow was it's the first one of these time shifting functions that was added to the XRP ledger. And it was done specifically to support interledger protocol. And so you can, so on the time based, this is how Ripple is using it. I guess it was dually built to handle all the people complaining about Ripple having so much XRP, right? So they locked it up in escrow. They used the time function. So each escrow only releases at a certain future date, which is specified, and anybody can go that knows how. Anybody can go verify that Ripple's not lying, and the network is not going to release those XRP to Ripple's control until X point in time. Another thing, just before we get into this, all these subjects, think of the way the math works in finance is you don't just think of time as a continuous thing. You chunk it up into little segments of time. So like say you got a year, okay? So you chunk it up into 12 months. And then you measure each month. So that just big picture, keep that in the back of your head. But with the escrow on the time side, yeah, it's verifiable. It doesn't. So a certain time period or segment of time has to pass before the escrow will release the XRP. Now you can only put XRP in an escrow. You can't put issued assets in an escrow. That's where checks come in. Then there's also crypto conditions. So this is how escrow interacts with, like, say, a interledger protocol connector, like a market maker, liquidity provider, whatever. And in that setup, the or configuration, I don't know what the right word is. In that configuration, there has to be a crypto condition met. So with interledger protocol, it's been a while since I looked at this. With interledger protocol, there's a loop, a logic loop, and oh, that's right, it's the pre-shared key, or I think they changed it from that. I think it's I forget. It's been a while, but the basically, logically, like functionally, imagine a circle in your head. All right, so you and I are or actually no, payment channels is what I'm talking about. I'm getting this mixed up. Anyway, there is a crypto condition where unless you can prove that this condition has been met and, like, almost like a transaction that's cryptographically signed, you can't tap that escrow. So there's overlap between all three of these features. So I please apologize if I screw up a little bit here and there, because this is why it's one kind of trying to do like one kind of subject, because it's all kind of very similar, but different flavors of the same ice cream. There you go. And So the crypto conditions allows you to specify that, and it's not a time-based thing. So the money's just in escrow, right? Just pretend for indefinitely. It's just locked up. Nobody can get it unless you can meet that crypto condition. Then it'll release the escrow to the intended recipient. Does that make sense? So you've got your time-based and your crypto condition-based escrow, and you can combine them. An escrow that's got, let's say, a time-based, like let's say, hey, if this house closing doesn't close by January 1st, I want my money back. So the XRP that gets put in the escrow, if you, the buyer, can't meet the, or I guess it would be the other way. If you, the seller, can't meet the crypto conditions of like providing me title and yada yada, then I'm not going to release the funds to you, right? If you release if you meet all the requirements of proving and signing the contracts and execute the transaction for the real estate, then I sign the crypto condition. You submit it to the network. It releases the funds. It goes to your account. There you go. But if you don't sign the contracts and all the stuff, then after January 1st, I can submit an escrow cancel or whatever it's called. I think that's what it's called. And it'll release the funds back to me because we didn't execute the sale transaction. So why in the world would I give you all the money if you didn't buy the house? That's crazy. So the money just comes back to me. So there's that feature or that aspect of the escrow feature. We need to watch the time because this is a lot of subjects in this topic. Does that make sense, or is there any questions or thoughts? Or I want to pause for a minute here and there because there's things to think about here. Okay, if there's no questions, I'll try. Okay, so there's like a skim of escrow. So, now obviously when you put fund XRP in funds value, when you put value in escrow, it's locked up until either the time component or the crypto condition component or both components are met. I guess I'll go over payment channels real quick because payment channels actually was, payment channels came around about the same time, I think a little after Lightning Network. And similar architecture. Not exactly the same, but similar. And so what payment channels, just like escrow, one, you can only put XRP in a payment channel. So no issued assets. That's what checks are for. Two, just like an escrow, a payment channel has to be pre-funded. However, escrow only works on ledger in terms of like facilitating transactions between two parties. They have to, it's on ledger. Payment channels, this is the interledger. This is where, like XPOP, and we've been talking about this the last couple of days. This is where the you can do offline or off network, off XRP ledger transactions, but you're still transacting value between two folks or two parties. Because let's say I pre-funded a payment channel with 100 XRP, and then I want to send you a tenth of an XRP, every day or whatever, every minute or every 10 seconds or whatever period of time, or per I don't know, API call or something like that. I send you a receipt. Now you know that I'm good for it because it's a pre-funded payment channel. This is in some sense, I think maybe RippleNet might. Well, I don't know that. I've never been able to get a clear answer on that, and I think they're intentionally not answering. But it's a little bit like the Nostro Vostro type of setup. It's a pre-funded payment channel. So you do have the money locked up in the payment channel. Now, I can pull the money back to my wallet anytime. It's not like Escrow where there's a time-based component or a crypto. I can pull that money back, and that's that. Pretty sure that's accurate, like 90%. But the that the money's there, so you can go, and when you're ready, let's say I've sent you a tenth of an XRP, okay, and you finally have a whole XRP, and now you want the whole XRP. So you take the most recent receipt because they're sequential, and you submit that most recent receipt, which includes all the other ones underneath it, and then you get your 1 XRP, right? So you choose as the receiver when you're going to collect, basically. Oh man, I forget the mechanism that prevents me from pulling it back and leaving unfunded receipts. There's something in the system design architecture that accomplishes that. I forget. Give me a second. Let me think about that one. And so what that does is like a coil, like that enables streaming payments, right? Because I can send you a tenth or a hundredth of a penny, just boom, 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 as fast as you and I can communicate. This helps. It's also a scaling thing. So it helps like the XRP ledger / RippleNet / Internet of Value / Interledger protocol scale. Well, Interledger protocol is kind of it's not really, anyway. It helps scale in terms of volume of transactions, just per like count, not value, but count, just transaction count. So you can basically send as many transactions as fast as you and I can communicate. So like an email, as the analogy goes, as fast as you can receive an email, or your server can connect to my server and receive a message, we can pay each other any minuscule micro payment amount of value. The amount of value is completely irrelevant. And so, yeah, you can literally, so think like Internet of Things and all this stuff. Say you've got a device that's picking up data and it's selling access to that data for micro pennies, micro payments. Totally, that's your payment channels use case. But again, it's pre-funded. That carries the value across time. I think. Oh, I got to double check this. This is going to bother me. Because I don't think you can. I don't think me as the person who pre-funded the payment channel, I don't think I can pull it back without the receipts being put in, but the network's not going to know about the receipt until it's submitted by the receiver. I'm going to have to double check that. If anybody knows, please speak up. There's some mechanism there for that that addresses that concern. And then checks, and we're about at 20 minutes. So if I can wrap this up in 10 minutes, then hopefully other folks will speak up and have some questions, and we can kind of dive into it wherever people want to go. So checks also provide this time shifting of value functionality, but they do it for issued assets. So escrow and payment channels, that's just XRP. This is another one of these aspects where the way the XRP ledger is designed, it's keeps XRP in the center. You call it a bridge currency, but it's really more than that, because you can only access some of these time shifting features by using XRP. You can't do it. Escrow and payment channels, only XRP. Checks allow you, how do I say this? A limited / different set of functionality. However, you get the advantage that you can use them with issued assets. So the trouble with a check, kind of like I was just thinking, I got to double check that on the payment channel. But kind of like I was just saying, like, what if I pull the money out of the payment channel and then you go to submit your receipt and there's no money in the payment channel because I pulled it out? That's actually not possible in a payment channel. I just forget the mechanism. Checks, it is possible to write an unfunded check. Think of checks as analogous to literally a paper check. Okay, so one of the things that's good about checks is you can do issued assets. So think of like a commercial bank deposit. Okay, that's basically an issued asset. It's an IOU. The bank owes you X amount of dollars. It's not hard money. It's not cash. It's not gold. It's not XRP. It's not hard money. It's an issue. People, I kind of laugh. They're like, "Oh, I got money in the bank," and I'm like, "Yeah, but that's just somebody else owing you money." Oh, hang on a second. I got people showing up. Sorry about that. Checks are very analogous. So think of like you're running a big bank, right? And you've got certain business processes that are already set up, and you got them. It's just how you operate to manage checks, like the processing, issuance, cashing, whatever, all this stuff. So the banks can just take that business process. They don't have to re-engineer anything, and they can just apply it to that. They just take this new technology, this digital check, basically, and they're like, "Oh, yep, that's how that works. Cool." Plug it in. Sure, you got to do some little bit of code, but you plug it in, and there it goes. So that, in terms of fueling or supporting or reducing the time frame of an adoption cycle, is important. I was surprised they actually did the checks amendment. I was distracted at the time, And so I didn't see it, and I wasn't part of the conversation when the checks amendment was being created. And I found out about it later, and I was like, wait a second. I was surprised that they enabled this for issued assets, because when escrow and payment channel were going on, there was a lot of talk and reasonable talk about why only XRP should be used. That's why both payment channel and escrow only are usable with XRP as a denomination of value. There's risk aspects, issuer risks, and whatnot. With checks, both of like an escrow and a payment channel are going to be pre-funded. With checks, like I could like have $100 in the account, and I could write you, send you a check for $110. But if you go to cash it in whole, because you can also partially cash a check, right? Like you could say, well, I've only done $10 worth of business, so even though I have a check here for $100 or 100 of insert issued asset USD, I can actually, the receiver can just cash it for say $10, and then they can maybe cash it for another $10. So in that regard, it's similar to like a payment channel. Escrow is all or nothing. Payment channels, you can kind of drip feed value. And checks you can as well. However, even though I wrote you that check for $110 or $110, yeah, because it's an issued asset. If there's only $100 in that account, if you go to cash it in whole, it's basically just going to bounce. I'm pretty sure that it'll do a partial payment, so it'll like send the $100 that's in the account, but the other $10 you're not going to get unless I put $10 more in the account. So there's that aspect of it too. And checks have an expiration. But unlike escrow and payment channels, the checks don't, there's not like this is the reason you can, I guess, bounce a check, or however you want to term you want to use. But there's no money that's specifically set aside. So, think of you're like a fractional reserve bank. Each one of your think and pretend and okay, think about it like this: you're a fractional reserve bank, and people have come and deposited 100 golds in your vault, but they don't come and get it, right? This is why fractional reserve works. Unless you have a bank run, everybody's not going to show up and say, give me all 100 golds. So you can lend some out and earn some interest and run various, anyway, you can do that. Checks are kind of like that. Like if you come to me and I run an account on like XRP Ledger, and I get 100 golds from all these different users, and I'm doing fractional reserve, then I could write checks for say 200 golds. Each individual user still feels like they've got their value there. Maybe this is a bad example, but you can write a check for more than the money's in the account. And I don't have to, it's not like I have to take the 100 golds and lock them up into an escrow, or take the 100 golds and deposit them into a payment channel. I can just write 200 golds worth of checks to various other account holders. So that's different. Trying to think, there's probably other things I'm forgetting.
I think the reason that for the payment channels, right? Because when you make a payment channel, both parties have to agree on creating a payment channel. and so you can only take from the payment channel what was already pre-funded. But if your participant from the other side of the payment channel enacts to collect, right, or collect the payment, um, if it's there, they're going to know right away, right? It's because it's instant, almost instant settlement. So there is no room for somebody to send it and then cancel it in like the middle of sending it, right? There's no. It's just because of the instant finality. You were talking about that earlier, right, Karma?
Yeah, sorry, I hit the wrong button. This is like Coil, Internet of Value, instant micropayments, APIs, all this type. That's payment channels. Like the Bitcoin folks like to talk about Lightning Network. Um, the payment channels are very similar in architecture, but also different. And they're actually, in my opinion, granted, I might be biased, but
Well, I mean,
just
off the bat, every time you want to, every time you want to use Lightning, right, you have to use pre-funded payment channel, right? And so every payment channel that you create has to have a transaction that still occurs on the Bitcoin network, which is slow and expensive. Where usually we have that XRP ledger has that advantage right off the bat.
yeah, and they're in all likelihood, like in reality, like real world, in all likelihood, if I set up a payment channel and I'm starting to send you receipts, in all likelihood, you and I have a business relationship. Let's just call it an API call. So you want to you're running an API service of some sort. I don't know, call it a weather data feed or something. Um, when my system wants to check the weather, is there a hurricane in the area? Yes or no? Right? Your system's going to say yes or no. And then I'm going to send you a little bit of money. I'm going to send you a receipt. Now, you got to pay your XRP transaction fees, right? That's what, 0.00, is it 0.0012?
Yeah, 0.000.
So let's say I only paid you 0.00000001 XRP. Okay, you don't want to pay. I'm just going to do round numbers. You don't want to pay 12 cents to receive a penny, right? Like that's ridiculous. That just doesn't make sense to you. So you want to wait till you have, say, $1 worth of pennies, and then it's perfectly reasonable for you to pay 12 cents to collect $1, right? So you and I can transact, but we're going to have a commercial relationship, right? Like we're going to probably have talked to each other on the phone. There's probably literally a legal contract. There's you're not just going to there's no, it's not reasonable to think that I would just set up a payment channel, fund it, pre-fund it, and then just start sending random addresses receipts to collect money out of it. Like, why would anybody do that? That's unless it's part of some sort of hack, because there was a little bit of a hack like that back in the day. But that involved issued assets, not XRP. Yeah, nobody's going to do that. Like, we're going to have a relationship, like a formalized relationship, before I start sending you receipts. I mean, I think that makes sense, right? I think. I don't know why anybody would just fund a payment channel and then send receipts to random people. I can't. I don't know why that would make sense. So yeah, you're going to know who you're transacting with. Plus, one of the whole gigs is like, and I don't know Coil's system architecture, but they put a browser extension in the browser. And so the browser is like the client, and the user of the browser, the end user, is consuming some sort of, to pretend a movie, content. As they consume that content, the browser extension is going to be sending payment receipts, like, say, once a second, just pew, 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 or half a second, all just continuously, right? Like a stream of little tiny payments. And those are going to be going to whoever made the movie. And then, when you're done watching the movie, maybe you've paid $10 for the movie. Well, now the recipient, the movie creator, is like, well, I'd like to collect on my $10. And so then they go to the XRP ledger, and all this other stuff before is off ledger. But then the recipient's ready to collect, so they go on ledger and they submit that last receipt, the most recent one, and then they get the $10. Right? That's how that works. Checks are the different one. But all three of these features are essentially time-shifting value. Specifically, check or escrow and payment channels. Checks, because the value doesn't have to be pre-funded. Like you can write a check for more money than you got in your account, basically. But the thing is, with checks, you can use issued assets. So instead of being forced into using XRP, you could use USD, gold, anything that anybody wants to issue on the NFTs. Like you could use anything. I don't know if you could use NFT. Well, we don't even have XLS20 yet. That's a good question. I haven't thought of that question yet.
What was it? Go ahead, Shellfish. Welcome up.
Well, the question was, I know you can do issued assets with NFT or with checks, but with XLS20, I'm not sure if you could do, like, what if I wrote you a check for a Bored Ape? Like, I could not have the Bored Ape, right? I can still write the check. You go to cash it, it isn't going to cash. But I'm not even sure if, because the XLS20 and the pages are a completely different type of object in the database. So
Yeah,
I don't know if check. I would land on in a bout of caution. I would land on the side that checks cannot be written on NFTs, but any other issued asset they can. And sorry, Shellfish, go for it. Oh, looked like she dropped down for a second.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's
Can you
coming
hear
back.
me?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good.
So, the airdrops that were happening back in like November, where they had like all those people with the multiple wallets that were like kind of farming the airdrops, does that have anything to do with this, or is that a completely different subject?
No, that's different.
Okay. Thank you.
That's no, that's different because oh geez, my mind is not on that yet right now.
Or those are just airdrops. Those are trust lines, not payment channels.
Yeah, Yeah. Those are, there you go.
Okay.
That's the answer.
But then the drops that they are spitting out into the accounts that have like nothing to do with anything that we signed up for, that's again nothing to do with it again, right? Like they put like 0.0001 of XRP or some random token.
That's just somebody sending you XRP for advertising.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Well, and the other thing is, underneath these three features is actually another feature that is that these three features are dependent upon, which is deposit authorization. Now, setting the trust line is a form of deposit authorization, but when it comes, especially with escrow and payment channels, because they only use XRP, and because like let's say you're a international bank and you need to make sure. So the other thing with checks and payment channels and escrow, if you use the crypto conditions aspect, if you're only using the time aspect, then maybe this next statement wouldn't be true. But you, the receiver, have to take action intentionally to receive the funds. Okay? So, like in the legal world, if you have, let's say, let's go landlord tenant. So I'm the landlord, you're the tenant, and I'm going to, you got $1,000 security deposit, and I'm going to keep $800 of it, right? Because I'm an asshole, and so, or because you did damage, or whatever the reason. I feel like it's reasonable. I'm going to keep 800. I send you the letter. I send you a check for 200. If you cash that check, you've accepted the fact that I'm keeping 800, and you lose your legal rights to argue with me and take me to court over the 800. Right? Like you cashed the check, so you accepted the deal. Both of the, like cashing the receipt on a payment channel, filing a crypto condition on an escrow, or putting in a cash receipt or a check transaction, these are explicitly actions that the receiver must do. So at that point, they have accepted the deal, whatever the deal is. I don't know. It doesn't matter what the transaction is. Underneath both of the payment channels and the escrow, you have deposit authorization. And I was surprised, but it does make sense, because let's use a different example. Deposit authorization effectively means you can't send XRP to my account unless I accept, almost like a trust line, unless I say you're allowed to send me XRP. Right? Like you just can't. So like you're a KYC'd customer that's got a legitimate business relationship with me. I authorize your account. We can now transact in XRP. If you're not KYC'd and we don't have a business relationship and I don't know you, then you can't send me XRP. That's the difference. So, and that's important because if you're a big bank, you don't want, sanctioned country sending value to your bank. You're in jeopardy of losing your license and going out of business. I mean, that's just you just can't do that. You just can't. So there's that sort of under the hood of both of these. Well, with the checks, I guess because it's an issued asset, you do still have the same attribute where if you send me a check, right? If I go to cash it, but I haven't set a trust line with, you or whoever, somebody else that has issued the asset, if I haven't set a trust line saying specifically I trust this issuer, then I can't cash that check because I don't have a trust line, which means I can't receive the issued asset, because you got to have a trust line to receive the issued asset. And there's also in the reverse direction, let's say because you have deposit authorization, that means you can't send me money unless I trust you to send me, XRP. On issued assets, you have authorized accounts. So it's a similar functionality. So you issue so let's say you wrote me a check for 100 USD dot Bitstamp, right? But I go to cash the check, right? And you're good for it. Let's say you've got millions of USD dot Bitstamp in your account, so you're totally good for the check. Well, if I go to cash that check, and I set a trust line with Bitstamp, right? But I don't really set up an account with Bitstamp. Like, I just set the trust line on Ledger, and I don't really create an account and go through the KYC AML process and this and that. Well, then Bitstamp cannot authorize my trust line, even though it's set and it exists and it's there on the database. If they have the authorized accounts flag set, then I go to cash that check, it's going to say, yep, sorry, you got to get your trust line authorized. So now I have to go to Bitstamp and go through the KYC and AML and all the regulatory compliance and everything, which is reasonable. And then, so I can't even cash the check until I've been KYC'd and everything through Bitstamp, because I can't hold Bitstamp's issued asset, dollars in this case, unless I'm authorized by Bitstamp. And Bitstamp's not going to authorize me unless I'm KYC'd and compliant. So you really, when you start thinking about this stuff, there's a lot of things that, how do you say that? That come together or are synergistic, I guess, that help. This is why the Ripple folks and the XRP ledger are the adults in the room. This stuff isn't easy to think through. And you got to think through it from so many different angles. And I'm going to figure out what the mechanism is that the receiver is assured that I don't pull the money out of the payment channel. And now I've got an unfunded payment channel, like you can have an unfunded check. You can't do that in payment channels.
Well, so it's a time stamp. It's a time delay, right? So there's an immutable expiration. So if it expires, the time expires, whatever XRP was left in the payment channel is then returned to the creditor, but you wouldn't be able to have a payment channel open if it wasn't already funded.
Okay, that makes sense. I can see that.
And by the way, if anybody in the audience has any questions, other than, or if you have a specific thing you'd like us to go over again, please feel free to hit the request, come up. Sorry, I cut you off, Karma.
No, you're good. That's perfect. If that's the answer, that makes sense. Because then I, as the receiver, I have a time limit. And so either I have to submit and cash in my receipt before the payment. I'm pretty sure you're right. I have a time limit as the receiver, and I have to cash in the receipt to collect from the payment channel, and almost like a time-based escrow. When the time is over, if I haven't submitted the receipt, you can submit a closed PayChan and then the money comes back to you because it's your money. And I never claimed. I think you're right. I think that's what it is, or how it works.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Welcome up, Viable.
Thank you. Hello.
Howdy.
Are you talking about like the Zoom trust lines or on a ledger?
On Ledger. Everything we're talking about is on XRP Ledger.
Got
These
it.
are all XRP Ledger features.
Yeah, and so great question, right? Trust lines and payment channels are two separate features that are both enabled on the layer 1 XRP ledger. And so a payment channel, right? What's a payment channel? The best way to give you an example of one, right, would be Bitcoin Lightning Network, right? But this is built into the XRP ledger layer 1 protocol to have that same capability.
So everything Zoom does, you can do it on the ledger?
Well, so everything, to think about it in this aspect, what Zum is just enabling you to do is to interact with the ledger. And so when you're doing something on Zum, it's just an easy interface, but on the back end, it's interacting on the XRP ledger.
Got it. Thank you.
Great questions.
Yeah, I don't know that I mean, I don't know that I really want to talk anymore. I mean, if anybody wants to speak up, ask some questions and help. I know that I just kind of dumped a bunch of stuff out there. I guess to round it back out from where I started, finance is about the study of time, valuation of time, time segments, and these three features enable you on Ledger to account for time. And it's critical. It's a critical function. It's like a functionality that for most, like you couldn't make insurance without accounting for time, right? Because you got a policy start date and end date. You couldn't do all sorts of bonds. There's no way you can do it. Stocks, can't do that without accounting for time. You derivatives, you can't do that without accounting for time. So these features are, at least from like a financial engineer point of view, these are absolutely critical features. I mean, you can't do your job as a financial engineer without accounting for time. I don't know what you would do. You can't do that. It's just not how it works. And these are three of the features that enable you to account for time on the XRP ledger. I know everybody likes to focus on value, but time is also a completely critical, mandatory thing to be accounted for. And these are the features that do that.
That was well put. Any other questions for you, Viable?
Not at the moment.
Wondering? We'll give it like 2 more minutes, see if anybody wants to come up and ask some questions. If not, we'll close out the space.
Yeah, I think we only got like 5 more minutes anyway. Actually, I think we did a pretty good job covering those topics. They're not the easiest topics.
I think you did a good job, man.
But I think they're very important topics. I mean, they really are very important. If there's anybody in here that's in the financial, well, you know, engineering a type of person. If there's somebody like that in here, I feel like they would probably appreciate this chat. Certainly someone who's got a CFA would understand the significance here. But it is significant. These are significant features. And these are like these little things. They fly under the hood. Nobody pays attention. I don't think most people understand the actual degree of significance that they bring to the functionality set. And holy moly, now add hooks in. You can start tying these features together. Oh, buddy. Oh my goodness. I've got ideas. Don't worry. Yeah, man. You start being able to chain these various features together and don't always think in units of value. You need to think in units of value also, but think in units of time also. And these features enable, with hooks, these features enable some things that are not currently doable. Just not on a decentralized ledger. They're doable on centralized ledgers, and these are big things like derivatives. But these are big things. These are $1 trillion markets, and you get hooks, and these things become doable on ledger in a decentralized environment, not on some exchange, centralized exchange, but on a decentralized ledger. And these are $1 trillion markets. So it's a big deal.
So we don't need exchanges at all, right?
Well, you've already got a DEX on XRPL. You need the exchanges for the on-off ramp to the fiat world, right? Because the exchange, like somebody has to be licensed and, regulated and all that. Like you can't license and regulate the XRP ledger.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. So there's got to be an on-off ramp where somebody is licensed and regulated and probably, well, maybe not providing liquidity, but yeah, you're still going to have that on-off ramp. But that doesn't mean you can't live your whole financial life or your businesses, whatever your business does, say you're a trader or something. You can do all your trading activity on the XRP ledger with the DEX, decentralized exchange, and all these features, and you could offer or design various financial services that exist solely on ledger. But then when you want to take your profits, you're going to have to go through an on-off ramp. And that on-off ramp, like an exchange, is, well, what we currently call exchanges, is going to be a licensed, regulated entity.
Any recommendations on which on and off ramp to use?
Not really. I mean, if you're trying to get on XRP ledger and you're an American, I'm pretty sure the only option is Uphold. Is that right, Death? Or is there another?
Yeah, I mean, you could use Bitcher. They don't have KYC. Oh, wait. Sorry. If you're using a credit card, like an on-ramp, yeah, Uphold or Coinbase. I only have one option, though. I only have Coinbase.
I guess Coinbase will let you buy XRP? I didn't think so.
No, not directly XRP. No.
What do? You buy you go like around the bend and you buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then you send that to XRP ledger and then trade it over to XRP?
for sure stellar, because the fees for Bitcoin and Ethereum are crazy. Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes sense. So you buy XLM, send it to the Bitcoin or to the XRP ledger, and then trade it out for XRP.
Yeah, I mean, when you use BitTrue, like if you go on and you use the BitTrue exchange, technically they're just using the XRP ledger infrastructure. So I mean, technically, yeah.
McQuack, you got your hand up there?
I'm just wondering, what do you think about the fiat on and off ramp from GateHub that's connected to the Zum wallet that Westsea is working on?
I think don't underestimate GateHub. They've got some good connections. I'll leave it there. Yeah, I don't. They're not the biggest team. They're not the biggest company. They're not like Coinbase, right? But don't underestimate those guys.
And if you're in the Netherlands or UK, you'll be able to use Zum directly as an on and off ramp very soon. We'd say is getting licensed in the Dutch Netherlands first, and then moving.
Yeah, he's already licensed. I'm pretty sure.
He's already. That's right. He's partnered with, I think, somebody who's licensed. Yeah.
Oh, is that how he did it? He's probably getting his own license. Then that might take longer and more freaking legal bills.
Yeah, there's no need to do it. He's software, right, and infrastructure. There's no need to go through all that licensing stuff. You just partner with somebody.
Fair point. That makes sense. Well, we're right about at time. Does anybody else have another question or anything? I mean, I got another 5 minutes if we got another question or something, or else we can move into the wrap it up mode.
Yeah, I think I misunderstood, but you're able to get XLM on like Coinbase or Uphold and then send it to the ledger and trade it to XRP?
Yeah, if you're doing self custody.
Okay, got it.
You have to be interacting directly with the ledger, because you're not going through an exchange at that point. Your value is on ledger in an account that you have the keys for, the key pair, and the wallet, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, once you have the value, I mean, that's how, like, when I initially bought XRP, I went to the literally physically drove to the bank. I handed cash, like I pulled cash out of my account, went to Bank of America, deposited the cash into the exchange's account with the proper memos and everything. They issued me US dollars on XRP ledger. And then I traded the dollars for XRP, but I did that on the decentralized exchange on Ledger. Like, they never sold me an XRP. They just didn't. They put a little bit of XRP, I guess, in the account, or not even that, because back then people would just, if you just posted a forum post and said, "Hey, can somebody activate my account?" Someone would like send you 100 XRP, and then your account would be active because the reserve was 20, and then that gave you some extra XRP to like do transactions. It was such a small community back then. And so yeah, they would actually take dollars and issue dollars. They never did anything with XRP.
Got it.
And it was an ex guy from the World Bank, so it's like, this guy's not an idiot. It's not like, it wasn't like some 20-year-old. So yeah, and then once you have the value, the dollars on Ledger, then you can engage with any order book that you feel like engaging with. I mean, As long as it engages with the I'm going to go off on a tear here because there's multi-hop and all this stuff. That's a whole nother topic. But yeah, you can just go on if you're self-custody and you can engage with the ledger directly. You can go use the order books on the decentralized exchange, and there's no way that any government can shut that down or all this stuff that the Bitcoin people worry about. I mean, it's a decentralized exchange. It's one of the coolest things that attracted me to the XRP. This is one of the reasons I didn't think this stuff was real. I was like, dude, there's no way they're giving the software away for free. There's just no way. But yeah, they were. It's open source. There it is. Ripple D. So.
Yo.
We got.
Oh, can I ask a quick one, Death? So
Yeah, go ahead, man.
With what's your guys' thoughts on with self custody? How do you guys feel about? Obviously, there's the ledgers that are hardware ledgers. I mean, do you guys ever think that maybe Zum or Sologenic wallets or Coinbase even has a wallet? Do you think those have a potential problem with ever getting hacked, or would you just? Do you guys have any thoughts on that one?
So Zum is probably one of the safest hot wallets that I know of, and I don't mind saying that I think they're probably the best hot wallet, other than Bifrost right now. So from safety wise, it's really as safe as you keeping how safe you keep your keys, right? But being brute force, yeah, no, I don't think that's possible for any cold or hot wallet today. Though cold wallets are always safer than hot wallets.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Death.
Go ahead, Dutch XRPL.
Hi, buddy. Just a quick question again in regards to buying XRP over the counter or through MoneyGram via XLM and stuff like that. I'm in a country, I'm in Pakistan right now, and basically we're trying to open up the country to XRPL and XRP through esports and stuff like that in partnership with the Pakistan esports. And the biggest problem we're seeing right now is trying to get, XRP. The country's kind of got a part ban on it. They've not made their mind up if it's going to be, but then the Binance works here. But going through that exchange process is all a bit crazy. I heard you could buy XRP through a Visa card or through like other ways and stuff like that. What's the best way? What's the best solution, guys?
Well, so if you're looking to try and purchase something now, I'm not sure region-wise if that's banned from BitTrue, but BitTrue does not require KYC. So as long as you're using it on a web browser, not like the app on the phone. And so you could purchase or take your crypto from one exchange and go to BitTrue and then use that to purchase XRP if you wanted to.
Is there any kind of over-the-counter solutions like MoneyGram partnershiping with XLM and stuff like that? So is there a way we could buy XLM and then just convert it to XRP?
Well, yeah, anywhere that you'd be able to purchase XLM today, you could send the XLM to BitTrue and then trade that for XRP. That's typically what I do from Coinbase if I was going to do that. Trying to
Guys, if you could think about this over the next few days, the next time we meet up, maybe you got something for me, because we're having a big problem. There's 220 million people in Pakistan, so if we can open them up to easy accessible XRP, they really want to move out of their real estate business now because of what's happening in China, and all them traders want to kind of speculate or they want to kind of invest in something else. And digital assets is the coming thing with Web 3.0. So trying to get the people out of real estate into kind of digital assets. So we really need to find a way how a massive amount of people can buy.
Well, listen, it's a shame for the people, right? But if the regulations and the government are not friendly to this, they don't want exchanges, they don't want their people purchasing these things. I mean, other than you going around the means of trying to get it, it could be dangerous for the personnel trying to purchase it.
Well, saying that, there's quite a few banks which have been brought on board with the Ripple I think, 'cause, and not the XRP side of things, but the other side of Ripple's kind of message transfer system. So there's a few Pakistani banks which have kind of got integrated Ripple. So maybe there's a way through them banks to get some XRP. So I'll give that a try. If you hear about anything else where you can buy with Visa card, but Bitrue is a really good lead, so thank you for that. And anything else we would appreciate.
McQuack, if you got one last question, and then I think we're gonna wrap it up shortly.
I was just wondering if Dutch was asking about like if he wants like an actual over the counter trade, like legal
Like
mumbo
a
jumbo.
broker. Like a broker kind of thing, or you could send money to a broker and some legitimate brokers or something like that.
Well, I mean, that's Uphold is a brokerage, right? And so if your country is not allowing you to do these things or use these type of things, like I'm saying, it could be very difficult.
What this can I just clarify what the status is? It's basically it's allowed in the country. The third biggest holders of crypto in the world are Pakistanis, but internationally. But in Pakistan itself, you can hold crypto, you can buy and sell it, but if anything goes wrong, you can't go to the government and start complaining.
Go ahead, McQuack, if you'd like to ask a question, man, and we'll close up the space.
There's always a way around. Right away, we could use the Zum app. There, you could send other tokens that are allowed on that app and just trade it for XRP on its decentralized exchange. That's one way around it.
Yeah, it's just any solutions you think of in the next few days, guys. 220 million people are waiting, dying to buy crypto in here, so we would love to find a solution, mate.
Are they not able to buy any crypto at all?
We've got Binance and stuff like that, but it's all a little bit long stretched, really, with the KYC and stuff like that. We're just trying to find, businessmen just want to get kind of hand over the cash, get the crypto in the hand, and that's it. Bomb, boom, get onto the system.
Yeah, I'd probably have caution against something like that in my me thinking about it. But let's we'll end up here. I just want to thank you for everybody who comes to the space, everybody who comes up and asks questions. We wouldn't be doing these if it wasn't for us in the community finding them valuable every day. All of the speakers, they don't speak for ledgerscale. None of this is financial advice. And I hope to see everybody here tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time for another space.
Yeah,
cheers, guys.
Definitely appreciate everybody joining, and for any listeners that maybe listen in the future, I hope that that you find the information beneficial, and maybe it helps you figure out something you're working on. If you do want to help, like, support us, there's currently the various crypto addresses there on top of the ledgerscale account. If you go to that on the Twitter, there's a bunch of addresses for various networks. And yeah, thank you for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, guys.